Okay, I am going to walk through just a very, very simple, about 10-12 minute long abdominal training routine. It's going to be 3 exercises. When we're doing ab work, just like any other body part, we want to be really careful that we don't get super repetitive with the types of movements that we're doing. Just like there's no value in doing a dumbbell curl followed by a barbell curl followed by a cable curl. It's all the same motion. We don't need to do crunch after crunch after crunch after crunch when we're training our abs and our core. So you don't have to do every possible type of core movement in one workout, but you want to make sure that you're injecting some variety into it. So that's what we're going to do with the workout today. So we're going to do this as a 3-movement circuit. Okay, so once I'll go through the movements. As you would work through this, I'll give you some general guidelines on how many reps I would try to go towards, but your goal is to get towards fatigue without actually letting your form break down. So depending on what your strength level is, that might look a little different than just like a base level of reps. So what we're going to do to start is we're going to do a lying leg raise. Now, depending on what you've got access to, if you just have a floor, then I'll show you how to do it on the floor. If you have something like a bench that this can be done on, I'll show it on a bench as well as on the floor. So this will be our first movement. This is going to be our flexion movement at the spine where we're trying to essentially curl up into a ball. So I'm going to show it on the bench first. So you lay back, you're going to grip the bench right here. Now you can create a little bit of leverage by pulling your arms into the bench, and that's totally fine. What I want to do though is I want to make sure that I keep my lower back well protected and that all the movement is coming through my abs and through my spine and not just through my hips. So I'm going to bring my legs off the ground and I'm going to find a spot where I can push my lower back into the floor or into the bench without it coming up into an arch. So if I have my feet right off the floor and it's arching, I'm too low. So I got to come up and I got to find where is that spot. It's going to look a little different for everybody. Some people, if you're not super strong on your lower abs, might need to be up here. Okay, if you got a little bit more strength, maybe you're down here, anything in between. So we're here. I'm going to think about pulling my legs and specifically my knees right toward my elbows, and I'm going to exhale and try to get as much air out of my abdomen as I exhale as possible. Okay, I want to get all the air out so there's no resistance from the air in my diaphragm so I can squeeze this whole area really, really hard. So I got my legs out. I'm going to exhale, pull my air out. I try to roll up and get everything in nice and tight and then just control the way down. Now if you look when I come down, I'm not just moving my legs, I'm kind of unrolling through my spine. So just a little bit at a time. Now my lower back's on the pad. If I get too low, again, I want to make sure I'm stopping before my back goes into an arch. I'm going to pull in, I'm exhaling, trying to roll up into a ball, and then coming down on this. Now this movement does favor a little bit higher repetitions depending on your strength. You know, if you're able to get more than like 15, 20 reps though, I would say maybe work on squeezing just with a bit more intention instead of just continually adding reps after reps after reps, so this workout's going to take forever. Now if you need to do it on the floor, all I would do is find something like the bottom of a couch or a heavy chair that's not going to get easily pulled, and you just want to be able to anchor yourself to that. So it might look something like this. So like if this was the base of my couch, I would just lay down in front of it, and I want to do that same idea. I just want to get a good grip on it. So I'd be here, same idea. I want to find that sweet spot where my lower back is pressed into the floor. I'm going to exhale. That way I can still pull into it, and then I control myself slowly unrolling. And come down, and then exhale. And then down. So that's movement number 1. Okay, so you're going to start off with that. You'll do as many as you can with good technique, and then you'll move into movement number 2, which is going to be a rotation movement. So we're going to do a Russian twist. This is something that you can add weight to, but if you're at home, you may not have dumbbells or weight plates to hold, but even holding a backpack or anything that's going to give you some resistance if you need it. And if you don't need it, then you just stay with body weight. So we're going to start by seating on the floor. Our legs are going to be out in front of us. Legs are a little bit bent. I'm going to keep my posture up and I'm going to lean back until I feel like my abs have caught me. Where if I didn't keep a lot of tension here, I would already be falling back onto the floor. From this position, I'm just going to take my hands, I'm going to bring them just out in front of my chest. Visualize if you were actually holding a dumbbell or a weight plate or a medicine ball or anything, it would go right here. Okay, and what I want to do is I want to rotate my entire torso from one direction. So I'm thinking about if this was the middle of my chest, if this was a flashlight. Okay, I'm starting this way and that light shining that way. Now as I rotate, that light is now shining toward my wall. So I created some rotation here and I didn't just move my arms. So my whole torso needs to rotate. Exhale, get the air out here so you can squeeze. Inhale when you come back. Exhale. This is the contraction right here. So you're rotating away, you're breathing your air out, and you come back. I like to keep these a little slower so that you can line up your breathing with what you're doing. If you keep them a little bit more ballistic, that can work, but especially if you're first learning it, slow it down so you can try to create a rhythm with your breathing. Otherwise, it's really hard to get all the air out and it's really tough to get a good contraction. Reps on these are probably going to be a decent amount lower than those leg raises were, maybe by half. So if you end up getting maybe 15 or 20 over here, maybe you're only getting 10 reps on the Russian twist. You know, again, you can add weight if you're a little bit stronger. You can add something to your chest just to create a little bit more difficulty. But the goal is to feel the obliques over here, creating that trunk rotation. It should not just be fatigue in your arms or in your shoulders from moving your arm back to back. So we've had a leg raise, we've had a rotation movement. Now we want to do something just to focus on creating some stability. So all we're going to do here is we're just going to do a straight arm plank. So stability movements are typically just going to be where this is going to get locked into place, and either we're just doing a long, drawn-out static hold like a front plank, side plank, something like that, or where we're creating a little bit of movement, but this is trying to stay stationary against whatever that activity is. So I'll show you what we're going to do. I just want you to go into a push-up position. Hands are directly underneath your shoulders, and then you're going to bring one foot back and then bring the other. In this position, the first thing you're doing is trying to push yourself away from the floor while keeping your chest over your hands. So when you push yourself away from the floor, if your butt goes like this is a bad position. There's not enough load here. There's too much load on your shoulders, and you're not training the right thing if that happens. So I'm going to shift almost just onto the very end of my toes and not even really on the ball of my foot. And again, depending on your strength level, so if we start right over the chest, I'm going to squeeze my glutes and think about someone standing on my back and me having to contract all this to resist against it. So I'm here, I'm simply just going to shift forward, pushing myself away from the ground, and I'm just going to go for time. Okay, now if you're really contracting your glutes and your abs, 60 seconds is going to be really, really challenging. You might not even make it to that. But the goal with these is not to see if you can hold it for 2 or 3 or 4 minutes. The goal is to work on creating as much tension here as you can so you actually fatigue relatively quickly. Okay, because there's not really much practical use for something you can hold for 6 or 7 minutes, but you want something that you can recreate the environment of just a regular set. You know, if a set is 12 reps and you're squatting and you got to create some stability here, how long does those 12 reps take? Maybe 45, 60 seconds. So treat this the same way. A lot of resistance for a slightly shorter period of time instead of just like very passive resistance, but going as long as humanly possible. So again, we're going to set up here, shift into it, push away, nice tight squeeze, and I'm just going to go into a static hold, still trying to breathe while I hold it. So in through my nose, out through my mouth. Until I can't hold my form. Okay, either my arms start to break down, or I feel my hips collapsing, or I feel myself pushing my body back up this way. Any of those things, when that happens, if you can't fix it, you stop the set. Okay, it's quality over quantity all the time. Okay, so just to review, so we've got a leg raise, we've got a Russian twist, and we've got a straight arm plank. Okay, so goal is 3 rounds. Okay. Ideally, leg raise, maybe like a 10 to 20 rep range. Cut that in half for the Russian twist. And then this, honestly, you're just holding as long as you can while working really, really hard at it. Okay, so might be 15, 20 seconds to start, and then you're working your way up from there. But give it a shot.